Andre Citroën started a business in 1919, and he was very, very envious of the assembly line system that Henry Ford had. And actually they were quite good friends and everything. And in the late 20s, both of them were wined and dined by Mr. Budd with Budd Body, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They both looked at the design that he had for a newfangled, call them unitized bodies today, but Henry Ford looked at the design, he liked it, but he said, I think I'll just copy the appearance of that, where Andre Citroën took it back to France and used the idea. So we're going to move back here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is the Traction Avant. It came out in 1934 and was produced until 1957 with a few years off there for German occupation. And it was an extremely advanced car. You know, when it came out, it had a unitized body, as I spoke of before, rack and pinion steering, front-wheel drive. Now this is your first mass-produced vehicle with front-wheel drive. Cord, Maybach, a couple of other companies had it before that. They produced very small numbers. They made 750,000 of the Traction Avants. This is produced until 1957, and then along, actually overlapping in 1956, car I'm going to show you over here came out, and this is actually my true love, and really, these were the cars that I actually worked on the most. And in 56 they came over here with a presence Citroën did and actually started selling cars, and they sold these from 1956 till 1972, when our safety requirements and everything, being that they were only selling about 4,500 vehicles over here every year, they decided to pull out, along with a lot of other foreign manufacturers, as 5-mile-per-hour bumpers and catalytic converters and other safety things for our market specifically came into play. They pulled out. This is a 1971 version of it. These were just an extremely innovative car when they first were introduced in September 5th, 1955. It had a suspension with no springs on it. It was a hydropneumatic suspension, they called it, fully hydraulic. And it has a small hydraulic pump which operates the suspension, the steering, the brakes, and the shifting of the transmission in this car. So it's really quite interesting. I can demonstrate, I'll start it up here and I'll show you, it even has a jacking point. It always maintains a uniform ride height. And the thing about it is that you can jack it up to change a tire or anything in. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'll hop in here, you see it go down, it'll come back up again. Once I get out, it goes back up and then comes back to its ride height, as you can see. And it's like what you have in an airplane or a helicopter. Small system, about 1.5 gallons of hydraulic fluid. So what I'll do here is I'll demonstrate how you can change a tire. You can see inside here you've got like a lever. Got 5 positions. I'm going to take her up to the high position. So this, you can see it rides up. Standing in there. Now I lower it to its full position. Suspension evacuates, and you're going to see this whole side will stand up. Of course, you're going to loosen your lug nuts before you do this, so that you'll be able to remove the tire. You're going to watch it, it's just going to rebalance itself and come right up off the ground, and there it goes. The whole side of this car is up down. Once you're through changing your tire, come back, put the thing in a high position, let it up a little bit so it comes back down, then you take the jack and your tire's all changed. There you go. Now we're back to ride height. Another one of the interesting features that these cars, the D model had, in 1968 they came out, they redesigned the front end to make it look more like a shark, a lot of people call it, and they gave it 4 headlights. Now, the inside, the inner lights or high beams turn with the steering. Audi pushes it these days as sort of an innovative item, but these guys had it back then. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Around about 66 or 67, Citroën was doing pretty well and they were feeling their oats, and what they did is they went up and they went out and purchased Maserati. They wanted to have their presence as making a GT car, Gran Turismo car, something that somebody could, a higher end person could get in and cruise down to the Riviera with, or something like that. So what they did is they came out, they had them work on a design, and they wanted to continue with their front wheel drive design, of course, which is the engine backwards with the transmission in front, which they did here. And what they came out with was this vehicle. And this has, this is called the Citroën SM. And this has this one is a 1973. It has a 3-liter double overhead cam V6. As you can see, the engine's turned around backwards in here, and the transmission's down below. A little dirty under the hood. This guy gets used a little bit, and it was good car. It was 130 mile top speed, and it was just a very, very nice cruising car. All Italian leather inside. And it was a nice design. You either liked it or you didn't. It's very 70s with the brushed aluminum look, the space kind of seats. They're sort of interesting because they break right at that point. Single spoke steering wheel, which is a Citroën trademark, started with the D. I guess I'll show you this one real quick. In 1974, Citroën introduced this vehicle, and actually this is probably the final vehicle that they produced before they were taken over at the end of 1974 by Peugeot. They were once again in a bad financial situation, like that Traction Avant over there in 34, and actually in 1930, that came out in 34, that sort of, with the engineers running everything, that put him into a bad financial situation, and Michelin Tire Company, who was the biggest creditor of them at the time, took them over at that time. So they've always sort of had, they've really been on the edge, and since Peugeot took them over, and they still produce the car to this day with their name on it, they share some of the assemblies, the engines, the basic platform. They still have the hydrodynamic suspension and a lot of innovative things. I'm happy that Peugeot has been able to maintain their identity and keep their individuality instead of just swallowing them up, which is so typical with takeovers sometimes. Michelin did the same thing too, but they've always wanted to run their own show, and they've always done a good job of it. Okay, I guess that's it.